I'm glad you guys are with us, and really excited to hear about your experience, Will. I understand
Absolutely.
you were a really good student, and Dr. Insunza, he's one of our oldest and most established instructors in the program, and he you know came to us with this initiative to be able to highlight some of the students that have finished with us successfully, and so that some of our current students and future students can see what the results were for
Absolutely.
coming to our institution. That's really something that Dr. Insunza has spearheaded. I want to thank him for that, because we don't do enough of it. Since we're an established institution, it takes time, and it takes a little bit of effort, with accreditations and all the regulatory things, to dedicate ourselves to that. Sometimes we forget to let the community know some of the good things that we're doing, for our students. And you again taking the time to do this is something that we certainly appreciate, and everyone appreciate you taking the time for connecting and hearing Will out as well. Sergio, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so let's start. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to our student spotlight. It's good to see you here. Today we have the pleasure of having with us one of the recent graduates, Will Bumbaugh. I saw Will with a clear goal when he was during classes. I mean, I'm pretty sure he set himself the goal of getting a job as a software developer. He never expressed it as specifically like that until the very end. But through the entire course, I saw him really dedicated to learn, to absorb as much as knowledge during the classes as possible. Always asking questions, always wanting to learn more, to discuss the details and the inner working of certain things. And I knew that it will be yet another success story for the university and a new career on his side. No, I saw Will learning a lot, dedicating time outside classes and practicing, and that's what I want Will to talk about. But first, I want to thank again Will for taking the time to be here with us, to take 1 hour or around of his time to answer my emails and to answer everyone else's emails about getting into this event. As soon as I mentioned that I would love to have him here, he was all in. So I really appreciate your cooperation. And not only for me, I think I speak in behalf of everyone here that we really appreciate your time and your insights. So thank you, Will. So let's start with that. Why don't you tell us your story during especially the final part of the course with your project, and how you try to learn as much as possible and be prepared for coding interviews.
Okay. So especially near the end, we wanted to really push ourselves. Me and my group, I had two other people with me. We really wanted to push ourselves and see if we can come up with something that would actually be potentially like relevant to something that we may want to like really make in the future. Not just a project, not just a final project, not just a culmination. So that's when some of you might have seen it. We went with a not entirely a wallet, but a web page that interacts with the Ethereum blockchain. And the only prerequisite is connecting to previously installed Google Chrome MetaMask extension. But yeah, submit a simple little form. You can use the page from there, connect to MetaMask, and then it goes over the blockchain, sends it to whoever you want, and then it comes back. And once you get the confirmation, you get a funny little GIF that pops down at the bottom. So it's a simple way, a nice way to track your transactions and everything. And obviously the biggest challenges with that would be learning contracts, learning cryptocurrency contracts, how to build them, learning the Solidity language in order to do that, in order to communicate on the blockchain, and then using different development servers and networks. And it was a lot of new knowledge that we hadn't even really touched inside the class, but because the class prepared me and my teammates really well in how to learn and the fundamentals of everything, we were able to teach ourselves, figure it out, and yeah, we created a whole Web3 project after what, 6 months, 7 months of coding. So
yeah, that's pretty crazy. Right now I'm with a cohort that is preparing the project, and we will be together from 119, and 120. But with previous cohort, in Will's cohort, it might be my surprise when I got with these guys on cohort 120, and one team was trying to create a project regarding the blockchain. To me, that was a shock, because it's something not easy. I think it's one of the hardest things that you can pick right now to include in your project. That requires technologies that we don't cover during classes. And even though it was pretty interesting, we just had 6 more classes to finish everything. So when the guys started to describe the project, I got scared a little bit, to be honest. But then they showed their implementation that they had already, and by that time they have solved the hardest part of the contract, as Will mentioned. So it was a really challenging project, and I'm pretty sure we all learned a lot from that. Not only they, but also me included. We learned a lot from the blockchain. So at the same time, Will, if I remember correctly, you will try to learn another programming language, right? C#?
Yeah, I was studying. I had touched a little bit on C# before, so I had a little bit of coding knowledge coming into Sabio, and I was continuing on that. Continuing on that here and there as I could. I think my very end goal is more towards game development, and C# would be great for that, but that can be a hard thing to get into. So taking things slowly and starting with software.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So how you started the process of applying for a new job, how you find the position, how you prepare your resumes, how many of them you send?
Okay, so let's start with resume preparation. I had a couple friends, associates, everything, who had graduated other boot camps, graduated this boot camp, and asked if I could see their resume and what they use to get their jobs. And kind of use that as a format. I use that as format, and I built it out myself, related to me, obviously, and then just tied in a lot of my previous Navy experience and Navy background as different soft skills for like communication, leadership, teamwork, all that kind of stuff. And that's how I really filled it out. Funny enough, for the job I'm in right now, my more admin leading one, because I had a few different resumes depending on what I was going for, because I really needed a job as soon as we were done with the boot camp. So I was applying to some old mechanic ones as well. So I had mechanic one, I had developer one, I had an admin one for, say, like remote assistant type jobs or assistant type jobs. And my admin one actually got me the interview, which is funny, but it wasn't too different than my developer.
Okay.
And then finding jobs. I went on TikTok and I found, like, all the different people who try to help people by giving them different like lesser known jobs, websites and everything. Watch that video, watch another video. So I went to probably 20, 30 different little smaller job boards, and then absolutely used a lot of the veteran job boards as well. like clearance jobs, vet jobs. I actually ended up eventually getting a call from someone from vet jobs that kind of like supported me and helped me try to land a job and everything. So if you are a veteran, then that's absolutely something you should look at. I tried not to spend too much time on LinkedIn and Indeed because I hadn't heard great things about doing it because of one, the mass number of applicants, and then two, a lot of the more spam kind of job postings are on Indeed and LinkedIn. And I've gotten a few application denials from LinkedIn, but considering how many I did put on there, like how many applications I sent out, not nearly worth it. Not nearly worth it. I got more, at least responses, at least denials from all the smaller ones, vet jobs, clearing jobs, and a number of them that I can pull up later.
Nice. And did you got your current job from the vets job sport?
This one, I think it just came up across a Google search
Okay.
and it just came across and I applied through there and that was it. Yeah. And they reached out to me and it was a really lucky one, to be honest. It was a really lucky one. So my other associates, they were more proactive when they did apply to jobs, which probably could have helped me if I did. So when you apply to a job, see if you can find the hiring manager or whoever's doing posted it and everything. See if you can find them on LinkedIn and reach out to them that way and connect with them that way. Just let them know, hey, that's how a number of my friends actually got jobs. So definitely something to be proactive about.
That's a pretty good suggestion. That's a pretty good idea of finding the recruiter manager and contact him directly or her directly and maybe say, hi, I'm looking for, I saw that you have some openings. This is my resume, right? Do it directly instead of waiting for them to contact you.
Right.
Okay. And what type of jobs on the tech side, on the development side, were you looking for? Like the descriptions, the required experience, the technologies?
Junior software developer and regular software developer. I was trying to stick between 0 and 3 years. I've only had 2 interviews. One interview was for was actually a response from clearance jobs, I believe, for a job on the Navy base and everything. It was my very first interview, and that was it was rough. It was very rough. I was not prepared. I should have I should have done like a mock interview or something with somebody, but because it went so rough, kind of bad, honestly. My first, second, and third interview with my current company was really smooth. Was super smooth. I felt confident leaving each interview, and I found out within an hour to 2 days. Depending on which interview it was, that I would be continuing on or eventually getting the job. And that's a really quick response, you know?
Yeah, it is. I was shocked that I think less than a week of you finishing, you are already starting as a software developer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a question, Fernando?
Yep, Fernanda.
Yeah, so talking about the interviews, so what would be your advice for your first interview?
Mm-hmm. So they're going to typically ask you, kind of see how you would be a good fit for the company in the sense of like, what is your experience? So for my very first interview, they asked me, what are some projects or how did I utilize C# before? How did I, what is my experience in troubleshooting APIs, this and that, and just having kind of preparing yourself with knowing these are the questions that they might ask me, and then having your answer wrote down and read it to yourself, ask the question, read it to yourself. I did that after my very first bad interview, and it really helped me prepare for the next companies. And you can Google, ask ChatGPT anything, the questions like typical software interview questions. I actually didn't get asked any like technical questions in any of the 3 interviews for my current job. It was all mostly tell me what your experience is doing this, tell me how you would react this way, and tell me how you would deal with this situation. So I got lucky in the sense that no technical questions, even though I studied every night beforehand, brushing up
Yeah,
on SQL queries, brushing up on creating APIs with Python. I was like, all right, I'm going to be ready for this, but they didn't even ask me anything technical, really technical. So
I don't think it's luck or not 100% luck, because I'm pretty sure they interview some other candidates and at the end they pick you. So you did something good and it's not pure luck
absolutely.
there. So what was the interview process with your current company? You mentioned 3 interviews. What they discuss on each one? Is there a difference between the second and the third?
The first one was with just the hiring person. He just asked me the general questions. How have I what is my experience troubleshooting APIs? Because that's a big focus of my current position. And then a little bit about SQL knowledge, and then Python, and I think C#. Just very general, very basic questions. Literally only probably 5-10 minutes of him asking me questions. And then the rest of it was kind of a quick little overview of the company. And he immediately, thankfully, he had the power. He was given the power to set up a second interview if I seemed like a good candidate. So before I even got off the phone, I had my second interview set up. So that was such a relief. That was such relief.
Yeah.
And then the second interview was with my current boss. He was just trying to get to know me a little bit more too. Kind of same general questions, honestly, pretty much the same questions, just kind of talking to me, hearing it from me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a little bit more in depth. He asked me if I had any experience working with like big rigs or anything like that. Because my company's product is often associated with bigger vehicles and semis and everything. And I was like, no, I don't. And just just simple, easy as that. Only had a couple no's. But yeah. And then my third one was kind of a panel. Thankfully, it was 1 by 1, and not all 3 at one time. That'd been really stressful. The first interview was with a senior guy, so a senior coworker, and he kind of, honestly, they really did ask me similar questions and just kind of repeat. And because they didn't ask me any technical, I want to say the biggest thing was all of them getting to kind of know me and if they kind of want to work with me or not.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just with this company, they have a pretty decent tenure rate. And they tend to keep their people and everything. Miguel?
Yeah, well, I mean, wonderful description of the process. Would you say that, during your interview, the first part of the interview, they were focused more on Will the person versus Will the coder?
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
And out of the whole process of that, if you could give a percentage to the questions asked, wanting to know about Will the person, how would you give that a percentage in the overall process?
Overall process, I'd say probably 75%, with just me, the person. And then usually they only ask like 1 or 2 questions each person at the end of, oh, can you tell me about solving a problem that you had difficulties facing? Thankfully, I got to relate that to Navy experience. And then second one, tell me about solving a problem regarding to APIs and how you troubleshoot. And then I just related it back to during school, and especially my last project. Trying to figure out why these calls weren't coming in, trying to figure out where the bugs were. And third person was asking, after getting to know me, it was more, how do I respond to a client who's unhappy type of question. So pretty simple, pretty basic.
Well, you would think that it's basic, but sometimes, we all need reminders of how to do that.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
ultimately we want to be able to provide good customer service and things like that, right? When it's all said and done, when you're providing service to someone, and you also want to be a good teammate, right? Someone that's, has the skills, the communication skills, and the mindset to be a good teammate and work collaboratively.
Absolutely.
It makes sense to be able to focus on that, because ultimately you can't have the whole engineering side of things without the teamwork side worked out. And so in many ways they're looking not so much for your technical abilities, which you could always build out, right?
Absolutely.
But those abilities that we call soft skills. That's something that's important to keep in mind always. And I take the opportunity to plug our career counselor, who's a specialist in developing soft skills. Her name is Dr. Cecilia Rico. If you guys have talked to her or haven't, I suggest you do. You at least talk to her at least once. She provides really, really, good feedback, similar to the type you're giving us today. This is kind of what to expect. This is kind of what you need to do. And these are the questions that could potentially be asked. And most of all, be calm about it, right?
Yeah.
Because you know what to anticipate. So I just wanted to mention that, Will. Thank you.
I can absolutely attest to that. I only met with her once. Kind of slacked on that, to be honest. But even that one meeting was great. She helped me build out a couple stories to show communication, teamwork, everything like that. And so I already had that prepared. So that was really good. It was really good. And then, like I said, especially after my first really bad interview, I just kind of, I don't know. I took a step back, and because I actually prepared some instead of just winged it, I felt more confident, and things went a lot more smoothly in each interview.
That's great. And I think you all should be prepared for those 2 or 3 questions where the interviewer wants to hear from you how you handle a team situation, a team collaboration, how you handle a problem. So basically how you handle the stress, how you handle situations where you cannot seem to find the solution. What are your approaches? So I think that everyone should prepare those answers. Those will be a must on every interview. And for sure, Dr. Arico is there to help you guys. We'll mention at the beginning that she relied on friends to get an example of a good resume. You can build that with Dr. Arico, and you can practice the mock interview with her too. So definitely know the resources that the school provides and use them to be more prepared in that. So usually when I start to talk about, when I start to talk to the students about getting in the interviews and how to prepare, I see, and it's normal, I've been there too, that I get a little bit nervous about the first interview, as you mentioned, right? My recommendation, it's always, don't expect that the first interview you will get the job. I mean, hopefully you will, and you should try to aim for that. But most likely you will require a few interviews and learn from each of one as much as you can and prepare for the next one. So you mentioned that your first one was not as good as you expected, but you learn from that too, right? You prepare for the next one and it went smoother and smoother every single time. I think we should be prepared for that. Be prepared to be a little bit stressed, but not so much, and try to remember the imposter syndrome, the thinking, or try to avoid actually thinking that you don't have enough, that you cannot do it, or that maybe you will not succeed on the job. So that's something that we try to avoid. And in the same notes, how it was for you the first day at work, the first week at work?
The first day was pretty relaxing because right now I mostly come in on Tuesdays. This week I'm coming in on Wednesdays. So my first day was on Monday, October 2nd. So I just pulled up the laptop that they sent me everything. They sent me a laptop, extra monitor, keyboard, everything. And so I just pulled that up and got on the little onboard orientation at 9 a.m. And it was fun. It was relaxing. They seemed like they are really starting to work out like the onboarding process and starting to really make it friendly. Instead of, just hiring people and throwing them into the fire, which they were doing not even like 2-3 years ago. So it all absolutely depends on your company though, because I know some still do that. Yeah, it was a really, really easy first day. And then first day in the office, the next day, everybody's super friendly. First time in like a actual building and everything instead of a ship or instead of doing mechanic work. Fancy little building. They got seltzer on tap. It's insane. Yeah, that blew my mind. Everybody's friendly. Always if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And yeah, everybody just wants to have a good work environment. Everybody, does their work from 8 to 4:30-ish. And if you're on call, granted, we have like 15 people that's rotating on call. So it's once, maybe twice a year. So not bad at all. But everyone just wants to do their job and go home at the end of the day. So it's relaxing. It's a lot more relaxing than maybe mechanic work, everything.
Awesome. So my last question before we hand the mic to everyone in the crowd, the attendance. What was the expectations from you on the first week, the first 2 weeks of job? Because that's something that we get stressed about, right? What if they ask me on the first week to connect a database and solve millions of problems? So what was the expectation from you on those first 2 weeks?
So, like I said, this is it's a really good company, and they seem like they're really taking care of their people. I'm still waiting on access for a couple things. Granted, they're having problems giving that access. One of them is actually SQL access to 2 more people, whatever's going on with that. But otherwise, I'm still able to handle some cases that are coming in, troubleshoot why an API isn't being sent out properly and everything. But it was very, very slow. Do all my videos. This is what our product is. This is how the customers use it. This is how we see it on the back end. And yeah, that was pretty much my first week. Just videos. And then this last week and this week, digging more into shadowing people, watching the other 2 guys on my team. My team's just like my specific team. Watching them work through cases, having them explain, okay, this is a problem, this is what the problem is, and this is how I might go about trying to solve it, trying to fix it, or this is how you do it. Some processes are like filled out and there's an article and you can just follow it step by step, and they're trying to get better about that, instead of just having tribal knowledge, so they're working on that, and I'm gonna be a big part in helping document all that. They showed me one of their new API implementations they're trying to make happen. And they want me in a month or so, to lead how we can make the process easier on our side, on the support side and everything. So I'll be able to take charge of that, and so that's exciting. It's more technical support focused, my role in my department, but because I also have the software development knowledge, the developers can't talk circles around the people I'm working with when they're talking about APIs anymore. And I'll be able to use that and create stuff, say just us 4, 5, us 10 might use. So that'll be fun. And then so I get to still brush up on that knowledge and stay with that.
That's great. Thank you. Okay, so now questions. Who has questions for Will?
I got a couple.
All right. Rock, paper, scissors.
You cheated.
I'm not-
Oh, you got it.
All right.
Going on.
So, the company that actually took you when you started the interview process from beginning to end, roughly, what was the time span from your first interview to the day that they decided to say, all right, we'll take you?
Okay. My first interview was a Tuesday. And then I set up the second one immediately after that for Thursday. And then I heard back from him 2 hours after that to set it up for, I think it was the Tuesday after I graduated. Yeah, Tuesday after I graduated. And then that Thursday I heard back with a job confirmation. So 1.5 weeks.
Oh, that was actually pretty quick.
That's super
Yeah.
quick. I was shocked. I was shocked
Yeah.
when Will said, I got it.
That
Yeah.
that process is effective, right?
Yeah. It really showed that they understand nobody wants a drawn out process. I mean, if they care this much about somebody they haven't even onboarded yet, they treat their workers pretty well.
Yeah, because I've heard of typical ones going between sometimes 3 to 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
The average
My-
can be around 1 month, month and a half.
Yeah. My first interview that completely bombed. I didn't hear back for like 3 weeks whether or not I was going to even I think 2 weeks, whether or not I was even going to go to the second phase. So
Wow.
it's all different, all depends on the company, but it's nice. It's nice when they actually, give you that response. And I also made sure at the end of each interview to ask them. So at least, well, not for the first one because it was already prepared, but for the second one, when can I expect to hear back? Whether or not we're moving forward. And then when I did know a next interview was coming, at least the first time. So the first time at the end of the first interview, I was able to ask him since I was already on the phone, what is the next interview gonna look like? What kind of things might the guy be asking me? And yeah, so definitely asking questions at the end. There was one question, I gotta find it, that I asked in my third round that the person was completely like, oh, I never got asked this before. That's crazy. So actually, while I'm looking for that, we can continue with questions now. But yeah, it was a great process. It was quick, it was easy, it was really nice.
That's good to hear. Hopefully that ends up running into all of us.
Right. Marquise, you had a question?
Yeah. I missed the question, missed your answer when you were saying what sites you were using to apply. I know you said you weren't using LinkedIn as heavy.
Yeah, I tried not to use LinkedIn and Indeed too much, because of the spam and because everybody else uses it. So it's harder to kind of stick out. If you were to use, especially LinkedIn, if you're going to use LinkedIn, make sure you are reaching out to like the hiring manager. That's how numerous of my friends got jobs. And like only a handful of people are actually doing that, even though I've seen that recommended so many times. Not many people are actually doing it.
Yeah, I saw that on TikTok too. So I was
Yeah,
like, I didn't
exactly.
think people were actually doing it.
Yeah. Not many people do, and it works. It absolutely works. Vet jobs. Vet jobs is one of them. Let's see. I I applied on Home Depot jobs, but I never heard back from their software developer position. So I don't know if those are real or not. So Booz Allen is great, great company. Numerous people have gotten hired there, and they're a great company to work for. So I've heard. So it's definitely keeping up to date with their job boards, especially their fully remote software developer positions, which can be kind of hard to miss if like you don't set the right filters, so you might not see them.
Yeah.
aecom.jobs. Let me type it in the chat. What's another one? ASRC Federal. But passed vet jobs, clearance jobs, and really I just went on TikTok and I looked at the people that like named off numerous websites, less popular websites, and yeah, it worked. It worked. Less
All right.
on website traffic, less spam sometimes. Yeah.
Gotcha. And then I had another, like, two more questions. One was about your final project, and like what the thought process, and during your interview, did you get any questions about it? And yeah, like, would you recommend us or like another team making a complex project using, crypto and all types of APIs and stuff?
Okay. The thought process was just wanted a challenge. We wanted a challenge. We wanted to push ourselves and really wanted something to be proud of, I guess. Because I've seen, following on TikTok and other social medias, you've seen other developers starting with, oh, do a like weather web page that implements a weather API and everything, and just kind of those are more typical things, and I just wanted to kind of step out of that circle, have something different, and then have something difficult too, especially in the current position of just having kind of started on the journey of it. And yeah, it was really fulfilling. It was really rewarding to be able to solve these different issues. Yeah. And then in regards to, did they ask me about it? They didn't ask me about it, but when they asked me questions like, tell me about times you've troubleshot APIs, tell me times you've, yeah, done any kind of troubleshooting, or working with working with teammates, or having to communicate different ideas. I just kind of reflected back to my time in school, specifically my last project. Because that collaboration is really helpful. So really learning collaboration with your teammates is really is going to be really good. And then troubleshooting whenever somebody has errors, helping each other figure that out. What was your third question?
Yeah, that was it. Just
Okay.
just asking about the interview, if they asked anything about the project. That was it.
Yeah, I referred back to it, but they didn't ask anything about it. But I did use my more admin focused resume instead of developer, so I didn't actually have my projects on there. I just had like a little, what is a summary, which I don't have on my developer, and then kind of like general skills, and with my general skills that included some of my hard skills of what's that I used in software development. APIs, RESTful APIs, SQL, Python, all that stuff, right? All of it. And I think based off those skills right there, and then seeing my Navy background, that was what they were looking for, and that's why they went forward with the interview.
Gotcha. And so with your past experience, did you take it off, or did you just leave like the skills, or?
I consolidated them into soft skills. So I put down points where I might have used a lot of leadership or teamwork or communication. Problem solving is a big one with software development. I mean, that is software development. So as many times as I could, put different points where I had to figure out solutions to different problems with my Navy job, and then with my mechanic job I had for 7 months.
Gotcha.
So still made it relevant somehow.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Neil?
Thank you. Neil?
Hey, well, man, congratulations. It's a small world, dude, seeing you here, and also Anthony. But I had a question, man. When you were applying for jobs, did you create any cover letter template or email template when reaching out? So, like, say you had to reach out to a hiring manager or a recruiter, did you have any templates already on deck?
Cover templates, no. I'll be honest, I was a bit lazier with my job search. Email templates I should have, and I should have reached out to hiring managers. I'm sure I could have made it a little bit less painful. And I probably could have got a job quicker. Granted, I mean, I got one pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty quick comparatively to what I'm hearing a lot. So I definitely got lucky in the sense that, the first job came through, and then I made sure that I got that job once I got in the interview. But I would definitely recommend setting up an email template to reach out to hiring managers. Cover templates, I'm sure it would help. I've seen that it does, but I've also seen that we're moving away from it. So I can't speak too much for that. Yeah.
I mean, thank you. Congrats, dude. Nice seeing you succeed and didn't give up.
Thank you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Andy?
Yeah, I was just wondering, when you said vet jobs, I didn't recall if you said you got any interviews from that.
No, the one interview, well, the first one that I completely bombed. I think it was from vet jobs. Like I said, I didn't track and do everything that is often recommended. It's recommended to track where you apply to, when, the stages, who the hiring manager is, if you reached out, that is recommended. And I've heard about people doing it, and I've heard it helped them a lot. I was honestly lazy about that, and I didn't do that. I had a separate folder for all my application denials to kind of motivate me, sometimes bring me down, but mostly motivated me. And I think the first one though actually was from vet jobs, and then the second one was honestly just like it popped up in a Google search.
I got you. And one other question, did you look into hackerrank.com? I saw that as a recommendation from someone else before.
Yeah, doing like leak code and all those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a HackerRank website. I know someone else said they got multiple interviews through that website where you practice your code and can also get interviews through there. There are a lot of companies check on there.
Oh, really? I did not use that, and I didn't know about that. We learned about data structures and algorithms, but I actually did get a call the same day that I got my first interview, which was so crazy. From a recruiter in LA. She saw my application and everything, and she actually called me to tell me that I wouldn't be a good fit for this specific position, but definitely keep me in mind for other positions. And she took the time to ask me what I think in regards to typically people graduating from a boot camp are not as proficient in data structures and algorithms as, like, say, college grads and everything. And so she asked me specifically what I might do about that, or what I thought about it, or anything like that. So that was really nice, but that was really the only time it came up for me in regards to my whole finding a job. And I think unless you're shooting for like the big tech jobs, most of it is going to be, at least for your first job, most of it's going to be more personality based. Like I said, it was probably 75% of who I am as a person for my 3 interviews. So it all depends on what kind of jobs you're searching for. Numerous of my friends didn't even have any technical questions at all as well in their interviews for their junior developer positions. So
yeah, thank you.
But I still recommend practicing. I still recommend especially HackerRank and LeetCode, because that will keep you sharp, that will keep you ready if you got a coding interview. That, as Will said, most likely if you get an interview about a technical interview, it will not be that hard. So you can start just checking the simplest problems on these platforms. You don't need to go even to the Medium, because most likely your interviews there will be HTML, CSS, and maybe create a to-do list. I think that can be the hardest project that you could get in an interview, especially for an entry-level developer. Look, this is a half-baked to-do list with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's kind of, it doesn't work at all. Finish it. So if you can create your own from scratch, you are ready. You are ready for most of the interviews. And I'm pretty sure you can create those. Don't tell me that you cannot create a to-do list from scratch. But yeah, practicing for the technical part, it's good. Don't get into what is called the challenge and tutorial hell. Well, the only thing that you do is keep practicing the whole day. It's good to practice, but don't dedicate your entire time in just these platforms. It's better to create your projects, to start from scratch on your to-do list, on your whatever app with your language, and dedicate maybe 1 or 2 hours a week to these platforms. That's my recommendation. And I'm pretty sure our next speaker will have a kind of a similar experience in the sense that he also got a job really, really quick. But I haven't talked to him, but I'm pretty sure that the interview process was a little bit more technical. So we will have to wait to see Miguel most likely on the next spotlight. Questions? Any other question? Anthony?
Yeah, getting oh, actually, I was gonna bring up about like how you were saying about vet jobs and Booz Allen and whatnot. The one that I usually use is Recruit Military. That's another good one for like I don't know if anybody else has used that one, but if you want to write that one down, that way.
Definitely, if you guys are VAs, definitely you can use that to your advantage and look for VA specific jobs, because there is less competition there, right?
Yeah, like Recruit Military is one of those that it's all like those online job fairs or whatever, and it's all military. They're basically looking for prior military people. You have the experience, you have a 75% chance, 50% chance of at least getting that first or maybe even second interview.
Thank you.
Another question, the job that you ended up getting, did you end up getting fully on site or remote hybrid?
Hybrid. It's hybrid right now. I go in every Tuesday. I go in once a week. And it's over in La Jolla.
Okay.
Gorgeous campus, so nice. And then eventually I'm gonna try to push for more remote. Because they have other members on the team that are fully remote for whatever reason they want.
You're saying on campus, is it a school that you ended up getting the job at?
I say campus because it's like 2 buildings side by side, and they have a grassy area that overlooks the highway, with seating area and barbecue pits and everything, and so it's
The whole deal.
Yeah, it's called Lytx, LYTX. If you guys want to check out the website and see the campus and everything, I call it campus, but it's their office area.
You said Linux?
LYTX, Lytx.
Oh, Lytx. Cool. Thank you.
Okay. We're running out of time. Maybe we have time for one more question, if anyone.
Nothing. Just can I just make a comment? Will, thank you for taking the time again on behalf of San Diego Global Knowledge University. Makes us proud to have you as our graduate, as our student, and having you collaborate with us out of your goodwill to be able to provide this useful information for everyone. It really makes our life as educators all that much better to be able to reach out and see the final product, and that the final product is thriving. This should give all of you guys confidence moving forward. Will's story is really special. He, from the beginning, you could tell that, he wanted to be able to challenge himself, to, not be scared to be able to take in that big project. not be scared of failing, because, you know, it's just experience and, you know, another notch in the belt. And so the whole process that you described, Will, is something that, you know, should give everyone a lot of enthusiasm about after having made the very important decision to invest in their education and continue their studies in this field. So, you know, I wanted to thank you for that. I also, you know, just as a final comment, you know, a lot of, I think, you know, what we talked about here had to do with Will's experience, being able to communicate who he was as a person and who he is as a teammate. I insist that you guys speak with Dr. Rico, make an appointment with her. You could do it easily via automatic, you know, appointment system in the student services page of the website. She's going to help you, you know, review resumes, be able to talk about what you could potentially have, you know, as questions coming up in interviews, and really how to prepare for the whole process of, you know, post-graduation. You know, the emphasis of being able to demonstrate that you work as a team is something that you could begin working with from day one, you know, in your full stack coding program. Being able to be a good communicator, holding, you know, doing your part in the team, but also holding your teammates accountable and talking about it and making sure that the project ultimately gets done. And, you know, it seems to me from what you described that that's the process you engaged in. And again, you know, really appreciate you having shared that with us. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much, Will, for taking the time again. This is your house, your home. You can join us anytime that you want. Don't be a stranger. Let's keep contact. I wanna know how you advance with your career. And if at any point you wanna get back here to talk to the students, just let me know. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate your time. See you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Will.
San Diego Global Knowledge University, Education Beyond Boundaries. Please join us for more informative videos on our social media sites and YouTube.